viewers and welcome to the Art with World. I am your host Arshad Waheed. Multicultural and multilingual societies exist through their languages which preserve and promote diversity of their culture and languages. 21st February is observed as International Mother Languages Day across the world. To discuss significance of mother languages, we have two eminent scholars with us in our studio, Naseer Memon Sahab and Sarmat Muhiuddin Sahab. Naseer Memon is an author. He has authored 12 books and he writes regularly in English and Sindhi newspapers. He works in public and private sector, and he is one of the founding members of Indus Cultural Forum and currently Chairperson of Indus Cultural Forum, which organizes International Mother Languages Day in Islamabad for last 10 years. Welcome to our show, Naseer.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sarmat Muhiuddin Sahaba is a poet, translator, painter, and prose writer of English, Punjabi, and Urdu languages. She has authored more than 25 books on poetry, travelogue, and children books. Welcome to our show, Sarmat Sahaba. Naseer Sahab, I must congratulate you that your forum has been organizing this International Mother Languages Day for last 10 years. It's a great achievement. How come did you have this idea to celebrate and observe this International Mother Languages Day?
Thank you very much. It's kind of a great satisfaction that journey enters into the 10th year this year. If I reflect back some 10 years back when some friends from different provinces of Pakistan with different languages were sitting together and we were discussing precisely this day that is being marked all over the world on this 21st of February. And we really thought that look at the beauty and diversity of Pakistan's linguistic landscape. Imagine this country is such a fantastic country having more than 70 languages. 70 to 80 numbers vary by different authors, but close to 75 languages in one country. We not only have the highest mountain peaks and ocean at the other end, but the beautiful 30 languages in mountains.
Really?
It's not just the beauty of mountains and the natural landscape, but look at the cultural diversity and landscape of those areas. In Chitral, Gilgit, Baltistan and Hunza area, in that small belt, there are more than 30 languages. All of them enormously rich. They have their traditional wisdom, they have poetry, they have oral communication, history, and lot many things. And then as you come down, you move with the rivers, you find maybe at every 50 or 100 kilometers a language or a dialect. Sometimes you find in the middle of mountains a small hamlet, 50 or 100 people living and speaking to each other some different language. Nobody actually knows. So that diversity and cultural richness is actually that constitutes a beautiful cultural bouquet of Pakistan. And then we thought that we must cherish and celebrate this wonderful linguistic and cultural beauty of this country. And Islamabad, being the capital of this country, is perhaps the right place for the convergence of all the cultures and languages. So the thought came that why not we mark this day, which unfortunately started with a grim background from our own country, but then countries learn from their history, and let's convert into the symbol of a unity. So we thought let's mark this day as a symbol of Pakistan's cultural unity. So that's how that idea came. We started a very humble journey with the support of that time Lok Virsa and then Pakistan Academy of Letters, media houses like yourselves, a small group of Sarvat sitting with us and you and other friends who helped us, completely volunteer group. None of us is being paid or receiving any emoluments for this service. We believe this is a humble service to this country. So that's how this thought started. We held the first event 10 years back in the Lok Virsa auditorium and the premises. And Arshad Sahab, we were so delighted to see that Pakistani people coming right from the tops of Chitral and Hunza up to the Keti Bandar and Kiamadi area, speaking their languages, reciting their poetry, There were book stalls, there were different sessions, people were mentioning how their languages have flourished, what is being written, what kind of content is being produced, novels, short stories and poetry. That actually inspired all of us, and we thought this is something we should continue doing it, and that's how this journey now reached at the 10th year.
So, Sarmat Sahib, just let our viewers know, what do you exactly mean by mother language?
Well, mother language is the language which the mother starts talking to the child. As a matter of fact, I would go rather further, deeper down than the language, because the mother first of all starts humming to the child,
Yeah.
which we call loris, and we
Yeah.
have different names.
Lullabies.
The interesting thing is that when the mother sings a lori, why do children go to sleep or stop crying? You see,
Yeah.
that is a very important point to note, that when the child is crying, the mother takes the child in the lap and starts singing. At that age, the child does not know what language is being sung. So what is the reason? The reason is this rhythm which is present in the whole universe and which is present also inside the human bodies. When we breathe, it's a rhythm. Our heartbeat is a rhythm. The blood circulates in a rhythm, and any of these rhythms get disturbed and you are not well, you know. So it is this internal and external rhythm of the universe which makes the child, when the mother is singing, the child is in tune with that rhythm. It's not even the words, because the child doesn't understand. So that is from where this connection starts, and the connection through the mother to the universe starts from the point a child is born. But the importance of language, I'll tell you, is this, that language is the base of your culture and your identity. Why? Because that connects you to your environment. When the child learns how to speak, what he or she hears and listens are all the words which are connected to their environment. That is why there is this diversion and diversity in different cultures, because all their vocabulary is formed because of the environment people live in. And that is the beauty of diversity in our country, because we have so many different landscapes. We have high mountains, and we have deserts, and we have fertile plains. But if you come to see, all the languages which we have in Pakistan are depicting their environment. Because the languages or the songs are actually very important. The importance of language comes from the source is the song. As I said, starting from Lori, you know, it's our folk songs which not only are making people who they are not only forming their identity, but they are also representing which culture they belong to. And it is important to actually study the songs and writings and poetry of every part of our country, having different languages. So that is how we come to know the people. And what is actually Indus Cultural Forum doing? It's bringing people together. And bringing not only, ordinary people, but writers and poets who are really very sensitive people and who are very observant people. And for us, I have been connected with the Indus Cultural Forum from the very beginning, from the first one. And I feel that this is once a year opportunity for me to meet the writers from those areas whom we don't meet anywhere else. We have so many festivals, literary festivals going on, but you don't meet those people except for this one
I'll come to this later as well, because that is a very specific aspect of this International Mother Languages Day, the diversity it brings to
Yes.
Islamabad. But before that, some basic questions. As you have rightly told about how mother languages represent culture and identity, I would like you to dwell more on this, how culture, identity and mother languages are integrated in different societies.
Yes. Shahzad, actually, if we see, culture is such a broad thing. You know, everything in the life under the sky is one of the ingredients of the culture.
Yeah.
But if I take some very prominent building blocks of a culture, language comes one of the few most important elements.
Yeah.
And that depicts the culture of any particular area and community. The language acts as a bridge to connect people. Unfortunately, for certain misperceptions and missteps, we made languages barrier which should have been actually the bridges.
Yeah.
And they have potential, because the Pakistani languages, say you start from, say, Tharparkar Desert. If you start carefully listening, the language of, say, Dhatki and Marwadi, as you move towards the other areas of Sindh, you listen Sindhi, you move towards Saraiki belt, you listen Saraiki, and then comes Punjabi and Patwari and Hindko, and you will find numerous common words and phrases.
And then a lot of languages in
And
the
a lot of
mountains.
go up to the
Sheena
Pahadi and then go you up to the north of Pakistan, particularly along the river belt.
Yeah, yeah.
You will find even expressions, very common expressions. Poetry.
Yeah.
If I don't tell you the name of poet, at times you will not be able to distinguish if it is the verse from Shah Latif or Bulle Shah or Farid. So much of commonalities in their expressions. They lived beyond borders actually.
Yeah.
So, so the culture of this area are not geographically divided. These geographic administrative boundaries are matter of only yesterday.
Yeah.
And cultures of this land evolved over centuries, over millennia.
Yeah.
The people were connected through these cultures. And then the connection of the landscape and natural outset where these societies evolved. So I think this country has so many common grounds to stay connected through the languages. What we need to do for that, one, it is a responsibility primarily of the state, the governments,
Yeah.
to create opportunities for all the languages to flourish, to promote, to develop. And it's not something extraordinary to do. You need just commitment and heart at the right place. There are countries where they have several languages as official languages. Next door to us is India, having 20 plus languages as their official languages. And does not hurt Hindi as their single communication or lingua franca. All other languages are developing. Nobody accuses each other. In parts of Europe, there are countries with 4 or 5 languages.
Yeah.
In Finland,
Yeah.
in Switzerland,
Switzerland.
they have more than 1 languages.
Yeah.
In South Africa, and several other African countries.
Canada, French and
Yes, Canada.
and even
Exactly.
Punjabis
Germany.
also. Yeah. Recognized there very well.
They recognize all the languages. They have availability of schools to teach students in different languages. You know, they have found solutions. They're not got stuck up with any single focused one language and making it the issue of superiority compared to all others. No, we as ICF, Indus Culture Forum, we strongly believe no language is inferior, no language is superior, no language is rich, no language is poor, no language is small, no language is big. They all have their unique presence. They have all their own unique traditions, culture, heritage, their history, centuries old, oral or written thing. So you cannot actually divide languages in those brackets.
But there are certain languages who have a potential of more communication than others. There are certain languages they don't have even scripts. They are more or less spoken languages. So how can you say that every language has the same kind of potential to communicate? And of course, there is their importance, cultural importance. Every person loves their mother language, and they should love. we must preserve and promote, but still we need some languages which our children should learn, which can help them progress more in the world and learn more from other languages?
No, that's a separate debate. That sometimes now people are considering that English is perhaps the only language which all of us should learn. Now, China developed without using English. It did not create any barrier.
But they learned, they sent most of their students to learn
Well,
English.
things change over the period. Now, we understand that English is kind of a language, is a globally source of communication, no denial to that. In a given setting, some languages do dominate, but it comes from primarily one from people, societies, and then obviously states have a greater role to play. How Urdu evolved, for example, in this area, it became the court language. Without the ownership of the court, perhaps Urdu would not have evolved to that level. Similarly, if the state, look at the Bengali language, there's a history which we,
It's very rich language.
Very rich
There's
language.
a Nobel Prize winner in that
now at that time, there was a debate like we are talking today. Some people thought, no, there is a language and that's the only language we should communicate in, and that will unite us.
Yeah.
But then their language also evolved. Other Pakistani languages are now getting up. I think we have learned from our history. Yes, there are stages where certain languages have grown to the certain level, where institutions support them. And you know, in 1843, let me give you an example of Sindh province. In 1843, British took over Sindh. Within 10 years, Sindhi became the official language. The Commissioner Bartle Ferrier officially declared that every government employee has to learn Sindhi within so many months or years, otherwise one would lose the job. So every Angrez was speaking Sindhi and writing Sindhi in Sindh.
Well, this is a very interesting thing, and I would like to hear from you, because the privilege which Sindhi languages was given by the British Sarkar, it was not given to Punjabi language, and you are a Punjabi writer.
There
Why
was a
it is so?
reason. There was a reason. The British Sarkar needed army, and they needed men for their armies, and those men they had to recruit from Punjab, and they did not, because Punjab people were farmers, you know, sturdy people. They were, and a lot of them. So it was their policy to crush Punjabi identity so that they can serve them, you know, because the army, the British army was serving them. And from Sindh, that was not a threat which they had. So they did not.
No, the threat was because of the northern areas which British were having?
No. The threat of their recruitment, because they didn't want. So it wasn't a threat for them that if they have their identity, it won't matter us. But with Punjabis, they were brainwashing. They were brainwashing them. Why did they not put Punjabi in schools? Why did they have Urdu?
Well, when I was a child, I used to learn these tables in Punjabi.
Yes.
Like
yes,
ik duni
yes.
duni, do duni char.
I'll tell you something. You see, this what we were just talking about, the international language, like considering English, they are two different things. One is a language for communication, and not only within the country but throughout the world. For that we do need English, okay, because it's widely spoken. That is a totally different thing. Your mother language is the language which creates your yourself, you know, because that is what gives you your identity, and your identity is connected with your mother language. Mother language, as I said, is because of the environment. I'll give you one example if you allow me. You
Sure,
see, from
please.
Punjab, because I am from Punjab. When a child is born, until the age of 4 or 5, when they start going to school, if they go to school, their vocabulary of their whole life, 40 to 50% vocabulary is already formed by the age of 4 or 5. And that vocabulary is what the child hears. As we also talked about written language, script and written actually does not matter. As long as a language is being spoken, it will not die. So speaking the languages is more important, because in writing also you can have different scripts and whatever. But when a child goes to school, and talking of Punjabi, a child for the first 5 years of his life, he has seen his environment, he has seen a frog, which he calls a daddu. The vocabulary of a child is connected with their environment, because that is what they hear, that is what they see, and that is what they observe. When the child goes to school, when the teacher starts telling the child that, okay, this is a line and it's called alif, the child's mind accepts it, because he has never seen that line and he has never heard that word alif, so he accepts it. So then the teacher says, okay, this is bay and this is all. The child learns. When it comes to meme, the child learns, okay, it's a meme, he accepts it. Then comes the stage of pictures. When the child sees a frog in front of a meme, which he calls a daddu, and the teacher says it's a mendak, the child gets confused, because all the names are different. As a matter of fact, you are not.
Well, as children, we can learn a lot.
That is
we
true.
We can learn more than one language
that is
as
true.
a child.
That
we have
is
a capacity
true.
to learn more.
Yes, capacity comes later on. First of all, you have to know how to read and write the language which you speak.
Okay.
The language which a child speaks. The first thing of literacy means the ability to be able to read and write, not to speak. So what they are speaking, if they can't write that, then they are illiterate in a way, you know. If they can't write the language which they already speak, and then it is the whole culture, as I have said before, is transmitted to the new generations through language. That is the medium to transmit your culture and your source of identity to the new generations. So with Punjab, it was, bad luck.
I'll come back to it again, but let me just first hear from Naseer Sahab. We have been focusing more on Punjabi and Sindhi languages because we belong to these languages, maybe. So what would you tell us the main threats to other mother languages as well in Pakistan particularly?
Out of 70 plus languages in Pakistan, perhaps 30 or close to 30 number of languages are such, as she was mentioning about the number of people who speak those languages. Now those communities are shrinking because only they communicate with each other.
Yeah.
They are communicating in a small boundary. They are not spread. They don't have the footprint like Sindhi, Punjabi and Pashto speaking or Saraiki speaking people. So if that small tribe confined to certain area, if the tribe is diminishing numerically or demographically, there is a possibility that with them the language may also die.
Yeah.
It's not being documented, it does not have a script, it does not have any like TV channels or newspapers or whatsoever. So all the means that can sustain a language and survive to make its survival possible, if those means are vanishing, like ecosystem is going, then habitat is dying and then the animals and other life would also die. So that's the way. So language also has to live and evolve within an ecosystem.
Yeah.
So that's one. Then secondly, I personally think somehow our governments might have been engaged in so many other challenges that did not focus on the languages and cultures to the level it should have. Though Constitution does not stop even provincial governments from doing that. It's not that Constitution says, no, you can't develop Brochaski or Balti or any other languages. So languages, Shina or Hindko or Patwari. I think it is the responsibility of at least the provincial governments.
Okay.
Like in Sindh, I would say, government of Sindh has a credit. They created institutions. There's a Sindhi Language Authority, there's a Sindhi Adabi Board, there's a Sindh Textbook Board, the Sindh Arts Council, and so many other such institutions. Good or bad, efficient or less efficient, but they are contributing. They are doing their bit. There is a Pashto Academy, there's a Brahavi Academy, there's a
In Sindh?
Balochi Academy, no, in other provinces.
Okay.
So similarly, I believe someone is taking care of Potwari as well. Some work is being done on Torwali as well. So where institutions are functioning, primarily because government support them, and not primarily because people own their languages, raise voice for them, create a demand. And another factor that we miss out is the ruthless reality of markets.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, you may or may not like, but markets do determine it. Recently, Sindhi Language Authority has launched a campaign. They are writing letters to the pharmaceutical companies that millions of Sindhi speaking people have to buy your medicine. They have a right to read what's the prescription and the instructions you have written. Why you only publish it in English? Or for that matter only in Urdu. Yeah, we do not have problem. Publish in English and Urdu, wow, wonderful. But then how many people can really understand English in this country?
Yeah.
So it is always good. Why these instructions cannot be published in all languages of Pakistan? What stops us from doing that? There are millions of people who speak different languages. They are buyers of those products. So I mean that markets need to be sensitized. In Sindh you will find several shops where they have their signboards in Sindhi language because they believe that the customer understands this language.
Yeah.
Newspapers, so many things. So I think the governments, they should own the languages and cultures, at least in their own provincial boundaries. And remember, languages transcend the provincial boundaries as well. There are millions of people in Sindh speaking Urdu and Saraiki and other languages. And there are millions of speaking Pashto and Punjabi as well. There are Punjabis who speak Sindhi as fluent as I could, even better than me sometimes. In every province you will find some people are speaking Pashto, Punjabi, Balochi, Brahavi. So Pakistan is quite a diverse society. It's not divided in the boundaries, linguistic boundaries or cultural boundaries. As I said, it's only administrative division. So there comes the role of national governments then to create an enabling environment where languages and culture can thrive. So, and then people, of course, custodians of language and cultures are actually people.
Very important, and that reminds me of the point you had raised earlier as well, that the British wanted to destroy Punjabi identity. Now he has just named a lot of institutions which Sindh government is running, like Sindhi Language Authority and many others, and the kind of shops they have their boards in Sindhi language. I have myself seen. Why it is not so in Punjab? Does it mean they succeeded in destroying their identity? Because you also a member of Punjabi Adabi board. So please tell us if there are many other boards as well, like who are promoting Punjabi language. And I only remember this Punjabi newspaper of Sajan, which was
Sajan came out for
Hussain
2 years
Naqi
only.
Saab
Yes,
and
yes,
Zafar
I
Yab
was
Saab
part
did
of
that,
it,
and
yes.
it could not survive. Why it is so in Punjab?
Because in Sindh, Sindhi is taught in schools.
Yeah.
In KP, Pashto is also taught in schools. In Punjab, we don't have Punjabi in schools. That is the basic problem which we, some of us, the writers
But would
and
you
all
agree
have
with
been-
me, even the mothers don't speak Punjabi with their children?
Why?
Why?
Why? Because when the child goes to school, the child is supposed to learn Urdu. And then mother has to teach the child to help him or her to do the homework. So no mother wants their child to fail in school. So it is
No, I understand that, but why it is so? Because I have seen some elite English medium schools in Pakistan who actually put a ban on speaking Punjabi
yes,
language in the
it's-
schools.
It's absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong.
It is wrong, that I know, but why it is so?
Naseer Saab said, you see, culture culture is always, as I said, carried on through language. So language is the basic ingredient which can either bring hatred or bring love within the different parts of the world. This should be the part of a national policy to include all the languages and have translations so that the people come to know of these languages. It should be done at a much higher level than just provincial, because it's just 5 provinces, but the languages are 70, and each year we meet around 20 to 25 writers of different languages in this festival. And that is the important thing. It should be the federal government who should take charge of this language issue, because languages should be a source of bringing people together.
Yeah, I totally agree. Government should do it, but I think people should also take more initiative, because they must own their language.
Yes,
they should
yes.
convert
Now
it into a movement.
There is a revival in different cities and different provinces of mother languages. I think this is a consciousness which is now, at least with the younger generations. And I think there's a reason for that also, because now Urdu has a threat from English, because many people are concerned that their children are not speaking Urdu, they're just speaking English all the time. Because this is from the internet and from television.
But they write Urdu or Punjabi in Roman text. And,
you see, but they don't have vocabulary for Urdu. Urdu is definitely threatened by English. Because of that, I think there is a revival of your other national languages. They are not regional languages. They are not connected. They all should be national languages, and they should be treated at par with each other. And there should be, of course, language Urdu, national language for communication, but people should be made aware of other people's languages, because language is the tool through which you come to know the people. You know the people through the language, and the more, if you know the language, then you can understand why those people, somebody from the north or somebody from the south, any village, if you come to know why do they have customs different from people living in big cities, for example, or any other province. If you come to see why their customs are different, why their traditions are different, the only tool is the language. You can only come to know, and as I said earlier, environment not only gives you understanding of the whole universe, and you learn the words from your language, but your environment also is affecting your thinking. It's not, the culture is not a way of living, it's a way of thinking also. And your environment affects your way of thinking, because the way you live. So you have to keep understanding each other, you have to come close, so that what does that do? The more you know somebody, the more you start understanding. When you have this understanding, then you have the respect. And when you have respect for each other, only then you can have peace.
Very important, yes. Naseer Sahab, you just mentioned that there are certain languages which are just spoken by a few thousand. So if we think, of course, as a human right, every language should have been, should be given opportunities to flourish, to preserve, to be preserved and to be promoted. But maybe realistically it may not be possible, because it needs a lot of resources, human resource, financial resource. Can you think of that certain languages should be at least preserved? They may not flourish because their speaking population may be shrinking, but they should be preserved, and there should be some other languages which are spoken by a large majority of people, and they should be promoted, and more resources should be allocated to them. I'm just talking of practical strategies, not the ideal thing. It may be less than ideal.
This is a global level challenge. It's not just of Pakistan where certain languages are apparently like vanishing language. I would not say dying languages, but they are vanishing languages. They are on decline, unfortunately. And that's happening with many other languages in the world. Now, there are few elements that we can discuss. One, is government taking any meaningful, serious efforts? The fun thing, I think the principal responsibility that government and society should take efforts at least. It's like a doctor. If even doctor would not abandon even a dying patient, he or she would till the last breath would struggle to sustain the person. So, but that's individual is a different language, belongs to several hundreds and thousands and is rooted in history. Secondly, even there are states who are hanging the living people, so that's a different thing. You can't hang a culture and language. Now, then the second thing is there are new opportunities. That's the technology. I think we have overlooked technology as a major opportunity. While it is considered as a challenge, I consider it as a huge opportunity. With that inventions of AI things and like in 80s, late 80s, when Sindhi computer was introduced initially in our press, I would recall when that time I was a student, the manual compositors who would pick the words and then constitute a board and then print it. It was a very tedious work. They felt threatened. They said, what happened to us? And then the manuscript writers, the khatat, they thought that our days are gone. Now, within a year, they adapted to the new form. They learned computer. The software was made available, and now it is even on phone. I can type Sindhi on any phone.
Now, you think preservation of languages is the task you want to hand it over to AI?
Eventually, I am telling you many things AI will take over. Your governments won't be able to kill or sustain them. Because technology is the new determinant.
It has always been.
It has always been.
It has been more powerful.
It's more powerful.
It doesn't mean that it should be every...
No, I mean, even if government does not take care of my language, suppose I say, if government is not taking care of it for any reason, if government is not biased, government has problems as well.
Okay.
They have some other issues, they have other priorities, they are struggling with terrorism, with economy, with politics, everything. All right. As a citizen, the Sindhi software was invented not by any government, it was invented by Majid Burgadi. He was an IT scientist. He created a keyboard and then he created a software for it. Okay. And then there are other young Sindhi breed who are now, they are working on digitalization of language, and there are websites where hundreds and thousands of Sindhi books have been preserved on websites, all being done by individuals. It's not all being done by the government. They are just committed people. They are not even commercial enterprises. They are doing it voluntarily in love of for their own language. Okay. So I mean, institutions. That's why I was saying that societies also have to play a role. People have to take charge of their own.
That's what I was also saying.
Yeah, it's a huge country. Governments can do something, they can't do many things. Yeah. So, but if I'm committed to my culture, I will keep demanding from the government. That's as a citizen is my constitutional right. But at the same time, I would not leave everything to the government. If government can't provide me filtered water, I will go and buy from the market. I'm doing it. The government not providing me good health care, I'm going to the private sector hospitals if I can afford it. Government is not doing many things for me, I have to do it myself. So if I love my cultural identity, then I should not wait for the government. I will keep calling and asking and requesting and beseeching and demanding from the government, but I will not sit idle if government has not come to doing that. I'll do it myself. So that's, I think, it's a collective rule. So I think opportunity is technology. We can do wonders. We can preserve all Pakistani languages. We can preserve the heritage. We can millions of books can be saved on just single chip now.
Yeah.
What else we want in this era? That can, the AI can translate my sentence in a fraction of a second in 50 or 100 languages. What else I want from this era? So I think let's adapt the technology as a positive ingredient, as a hope, as an opportunity.
So if everything would be done by AI, then what would human beings do?
Human beings will create AI, they will refine AI, they will guide AI.
AI has gone further than human beings created.
Now that is a new challenge because first times machines are believed to be thinking and deciding and acting machines. They are not waiting for our commands.
Exactly.
Now that's the global debate for not for languages, for medicine, it's for engineering, it's for research. I don't know, next year some robots will be doing this program with three of us won't be sitting here. That's another reality. But I think in past, whenever we saw new technologies come, we consider them as disruptive and destructive technology. Why can't those be considered as constructive technologies?
Okay.
So that debate goes on.
Well, let's come back to Pakistan from these all
Yes.
international
Mm-hmm.
and global challenges. It's very interesting. You have raised a lot of good issues. If you have to say something, and plus
I would
you are
like-
a member of Punjabi at the board as
Yes,
well. So what is-
but I would like to say that we should all try to learn from what our Sufi poets have been saying. From Sindh, from Punjab, from KP, from all over the world, what have the thinkers been saying? We don't think about human beings as human beings. We are divided into countries, races, languages, this and that. That is why, what was the message? The message was for all humanity. The basic message of all these philosophers, all the Sufi poets, might it be Bulle Shah or Baba Farid or Sachal Sarmat, Confucius said the same things, Buddha said the same
yeah,
things.
even modern people have
Modern
also
people
said
have
it.
also said the same thing. The point is to understand that we have to think of the human race as such. Where are we going? Where are we heading? In this respect, I would say, when we had the oral tradition, the message was going far and wide, and there was no division of this language and that language, or this culture or this. We should it now, especially after AI, it is even more important for the human beings of the world to think as what is good for the human beings. What are the challenges for the world now? Where are the systems leading us? Are we going towards a better world or a degrading societies? Because that is the real challenge, because these small things, whether one organization is doing this or the other organization, does not matter. We have to think globally. We have to think now of what are the challenges to the human race, and they are the same challenges, which are the universal truths.
Agreed, yeah. We are just running short of time, so I would like to hear briefly from you, and then I'll come to Indus Culture Forum's activities as well, so we can talk on that as well, about the role of mother languages in primary level learning of children. Just very briefly, both of you.
I think that, as she was mentioning, that the cognitive, now it is scientifically established that the cognitive faculties of a child develop in the first language the child receives in his or her ears, and that is always the mother language. So I think the way a brain operates, responds to the instructions or thoughts, emanate from that language, the instructions, unwritten, undocumented, and that now the message that you convey to the child is very important. Now traditionally societies have a different way of communicating their messages in poetry and the everyday life, even the sports of childhood sports, they had messages in own languages. But obviously, as I said, that another challenge has come up, that is the technology. How much time a mother could dedicate to the child, perhaps a cell phone is dedicating more time to the child.
And even to the mother as well.
To the mother as well.
You have translated children's books, illustrated books as well in Punjabi. Very briefly, how was this experience?
They are received very well, because they have been translated into many languages. And in Pakistan, in Sindhi, Brahvi, Punjabi, Saraiki, they have been, Pashto, they have been translated. But the most interesting thing, as I was telling you before, was that these storybooks, again, my focus is on the world civilization, on the humanity as whole. And these books are, they all have, these are very small books with good illustrations. By the way, like everything is changing, illustrations have totally changed like AI has changed anything. Even illustrations done by, there are no more books which have these traditional, like we used to read Red Riding Hood and it had a girl there, Red Riding Hood, and the wolf was a wolf. Now the whole concept of illustrations has changed. If you see the children's books these days, you can't relate to them, but the children can relate to them. So all these stories, I have been very happy to know the ones which I have translated. I have translated 16.
Yeah.
And they are carrying small little stories which have a model according to the humanities betterment.
Okay.
That is why I did them, and I loved doing them. Because it is again, I would say, we have to focus on the children of the world. We have to focus on their thinking, how they are going to take the world ahead.
Coming back to Indus Cultural Forum, I have said it many other times as well, that I must congratulate you as well.
Thank you.
That the festival you organize of mother languages is much different from other festivals being held in Pakistan. Most of them represent elite class, mostly, and their topics are not very much relevant. But here, very relevant topics, and you try to bring people from far off corners of Pakistan, who they might not have opportunity to attend the other festivals.
Exactly.
I mean, I've seen people coming from Gilgit, Baltistan,
Yes.
and far off regions of Sindh, Punjab, Balochistan, and as well. So that's a great contribution you are doing to the promotion of mother languages and also bringing people together. At the same time, I think that we have more potential to take more actions because currently your activity is just confined to one day in a year. But maybe you can have different functions, activities in different parts of the world. It's only in Islamabad, so maybe you can go to some other areas as well, and maybe some online. You can have projects like research, preservation, and many more. I mean, you are a very experienced person in doing these social movements because of your job and all that. So, what are your ideas in that?
Yeah, presently you find you see only our activities confined to 3 days
And only in one city.
and one city. Though behind those 3 days, most of us voluntarily work for 3 months at least, because those 3 days need a lot of
I
homework.
totally understand.
And
yes.
then it's a group of volunteers from different parts of Pakistan.
Yeah.
We do not have a secretariat, we do not have office, we do not have money. Our bank accounts, alhamdulillah, always remains empty.
Okay.
we always go and seek support from different institutions. We request the provincial governments to provide transport and accommodation facility to their delegates. We sometimes request some generous organization to help us providing a modest lunch for our participants. Someone prepares the bags for our panelists. This is the kind of work. Though I'm not against seeking money and doing bigger things, we are not against that. But since this, I believe this is evolving over the period.
Yeah.
Now it's 10 years, and I agree that around this idea, a lot many things could be done.
Yeah.
The good thing that over last 10 years we have seen now many universities in Pakistan have opened their mother languages departments. The research is being done in many languages, papers are being published, seminars are being held. Our effort was actually to promote this idea and create ripples and create an ambience where other people start appreciating this narrative and this thought and start doing things. Because it's not any single organization's capacity in Pakistan, because the scale of challenge is enormous, which sensitize the provincial governments and their departments as well. Culture departments are now forthcoming. Now, last year we, in partnership with some other organizations, organized small events as well. But again, we were doing it in Islamabad. Initially, we thought this 10th year celebration, we will do one event in every province. but then we thought that we needed people and money. So that's the
Of course,
barrier.
I understand. I totally understand the problems and challenges. It was just my wish that
Yeah, I totally
it's a
agree.
great activity.
Actually, I would like to add something to that.
Just briefly,
Yes, because first of all, congratulations
Thank
for
you.
what you are
To
doing.
you as well.
And then a very important point you have raised, like online. I think if we go online
Yeah.
and have discussions from different language speaking people, it would help a lot. I think this online idea is
So the
quite nice.
technology, again, being
Technology,
indoors.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
We have to use the
I know
technology.
you
in a-
being engineer would always go for technology.
and
Using
technology-
it positively for society.
Okay, that's fine.
Technology should be used positively.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
why not?
Well, these are such a huge topic. I mean, we have just touched few aspects of it, and there can be a lot of discussion around these ideas. But time is up. So, thank you very much for being with us this evening. It was wonderful talking to both of you.
Thank you.
Just
Thank you.
Very nice
We are
being
thankful.
here. Thank you.
So, viewers, thank you for watching us. See you next Sunday, same time.